The patterns of development remain the same: narration, description, exemplification, process, cause and effect, comparison and contrast, classification and division, and definition. Let's talk about definition. The pattern of development in which a writer explains what someone or something is. It's an explanation of the nature of a word, thing, or idea. Sometimes definition essays are really redefinition. They attempt to make us understand something we thought we already understood. Some of the questions that go along with definition are: what is it? How does it resemble other members of its class? How does it differ from other members of its class? What are its limits? In a definition paragraph, the writer's goal is to help the reader understand new terms or concepts, or to come to new understanding of terms they may be familiar with. Definition is very important in the sciences, where terminology is extensive and discipline specific. In defining scientific terms, a writer should be as objective as possible, and when impressions are essential, the writer should strive to use analogies and impressions that the reader can readily identify with. In the humanities, on the other hand, definitions can be more subjective. A writer may wish to define complex terms such as heartache, luck, or democracy in a personal way. So it depends on who your audience is. It always depends on the audience and the needs that you're trying to meet among them and your purpose. So here is a highly scientific definition, and we're going to compare this to a subjective definition in just a minute. Bacterial endocarditis occurs when bacteria in the bloodstream, bacteremia, lodge on abnormal heart valves or other damaged heart tissue. Certain bacteria may normally live on parts of your body, such as the mouth and upper respiratory system, the intestinal and urinary tracts, and the skin. Some surgical and dental procedures cause a brief bacteremia. Bacteremia is common after many invasive procedures, but only certain bacteria commonly cause endocarditis. So we have to go back to this. What is it? How does it resemble other members of its class? How does it differ? What are its limits? So this definitely tells us what endocarditis is and how it occurs. And then it gives an example of the bacteria and where they can lodge. How about this highly subjective definition? See how it differs from the scientific one. Idiot is not a nice word to call somebody, and I find myself asking, as Mr. Welch did and Senator Joseph McCarthy, have you no sense of decency, sir? Throughout my life, I have had to struggle to keep from thinking of myself in the limiting way that the word implies. So, for the record, I would like it known that I am not an idiot. I'm a person who suffers from idiocy. Nobody knows what it is like to deal with crippling bouts of idiocy while trying to lead a normal life. The last thing I need is for somebody to make it harder by pointing out what an idiot I am. This is definitional. It's subjective. It's talking about the connotations of the word idiot and why we shouldn't call someone that. And the difference between being an idiot and suffering from idiocy are very different. So note that both of these, this subjective one and the scientific one that we read, they define what it is. What's the difference between idiot and idiocy? And they give an example here. This one's even anecdotal in a way, and gives an example of Mr. Welch did of Senator Joseph McCarthy. So just to give the idea. So below are some common methods of definition by characteristics or features. So scientific definitions typically rely on this type of definition: physical features as well as behaviors, as an animal or cell behavior, may be a part of this type of definition. The next is by function. How something works or what it does can be an important part of the definition. By what it is not. Ironically, we can get a pretty good sense of what something is like by learning what it is not or what it is lacking. What it is similar to. Comparison and analogy help us understand things that are unfamiliar to us. So you can see how this definition can connect to the other patterns of development. Which one are we on? By example. Giving examples illustrating what the term means can be highly effective. So like when we talked about idiocy, what the term means, and here's an example of it. By its origins, I love this one. Providing a history of what a term has meant can help us understand its current meaning. For example, the slang term wimp comes from the term wimple, which refers to a headscarf women wore in medieval Europe. Exploring the evolution of a term could yield interesting insight into the connotations of the contemporary term. By its effect, discussing what effects the subject produces is important with certain subjects or in certain contexts. For example, in an essay on global warming, the definition of CO2 emissions, emphasizing the consequences of these emissions to the environment, would be important. So these are some things to keep in mind when you're talking about definition. Is what's the best route that you need to take in defining it? You might need to combine a few of these, but as long as definition answers these questions, what is it? Does it resemble anything else in its class? Does it differ? What are its limits? Can help you to provide a really good definition. And sometimes remember, your essay isn't just definition, it's redefinition. It's redefining the things that we've commonly held true or trying to get your audience on the same page as you.